Welcome to the Entre Nous, where we dive into meaningful conversation with inspiring people. Today, it is a pleasure to introduce our guest, Mariano Paz Soldan, an accomplished independent board member and senior executive with over 30 years of leadership experience. He has built high performance organizations with a focus on people management, corporate governance, and strategic planning. Throughout his career, Mariano has led both private and public institutions, serving as president and board member for various organizations. He is a national and international speaker on topics including the science of happiness, leadership, and corporate social responsibility. Mariano holds a master's degree in engineering and happiness study and is currently pursuing a PhD. Congratulations, Mariano, in
Yeah.
happiness studies. And we are excited to hear from him about his leadership journey, his commitment to well being, and the valuable lessons he's learned over the years. Welcome, Mariano, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for inviting me.
To begin, Mariano, what inspired you to get involved with the Happiness Study Academy? And how has that experience influenced your approach to happiness and well being in the corporate world?
I mean, happiness for me has been always something that has been, in my mind. I have a couple passions. One is understanding the human being as a whole, and the other one is Peru. I study actually biomedical engineering as a career because I wanted to study the brain and understand, the physical part of how we work. But I also love Peru, so I came back after being, 12 years in Boston to work in Peru, and I came as a manager. And the question there was, what truly makes organizations thrive? I mean, and I think organizations are people. So I worked at the beginning, in distribution companies and then textile companies, but then I worked in a company that was really selling services. And in services, what's more important is the people. We had, a few thousand employees and more than 1 million clients, and we had to actually see what really moved them. In that case, I met Tal Ben Shahar. One time he came to Peru, invited by one Peruvian company. And I asked him, I remember the question, and what makes you happy? And he said, well, the first predictor of happiness is relationships. So I always have tried to, develop a lot of relationships. But what I liked about the HSA approach and the model, Aspire model, is that one is science-based, and the other one is a holistic approach to well-being. It's a whole being. And that's something different because we usually, you try to do one thing or two things, but you're not looking at the whole picture. So I think one thing that we have to make sure today is that happiness is something that should be not just something that it's nice to have, but it really is something that we should have at personal level, at the relationship level, at the organizational level, and the national level.
Perfect. We know you've introduced a happiness program for companies. What inspired you to do this, and what are the key goals you aim to achieve when implementing it in organizations?
Well, I've been a CEO for over 30 years.
Mhm.
And the last or place where I was a CEO, I was there for almost 15 years. Um, and in that case, we develop a lot of the things that right now, after having the master programs in happiness studies, I see why they worked. At that time, 25 years ago, we were just doing it because we thought it was something new, it was creative. But what I discovered is that, happy people make better companies. And actually, better companies create value for society. And we did a lot of little things that really had a huge impact in profits, in making sure that we had the best uh, people that we could have. It really changed the way that people came to work. We never asked them to come at certain specific time. They used to come because they would really enjoy it. And we did have our happy day. We had a happy value. Uh, we had a happy organization, 25, 30 years ago. And what I want to do now is say, okay, how can we translate that, what I did with a nice group of
Mhm.
managers, and do the same thing in many organizations here in Peru, in Latin America, and well, in the world, if they really want. So we're trying to start, to do some type of company program, translating many of those things that, we learned 20, 25 years ago, and that I learned in the master programs a couple of years ago, and try to implement them in companies.
In addition to your work with companies, we understand that you are about to begin your PhD in happiness. How do you see this academic step complementing your practical experience, and what specific areas of happiness are you most interested in exploring further?
I think, I mean, the thing is, how can we, impact society as a whole? And in case of Peru, we're still a underdeveloped country. So to see how we can, where there's economic scarcity, like the rural areas in the communities of Peru, I believe that there's a lot of happiness there. And the question is, why are they happy if they really don't have a good education system? They don't have health systems. They don't have, I mean, they don't really have much, but they have resilience, they have meaning, they have social connections.
Mhm.
They're in a beautiful place. They eat, food that comes directly from the earth. Uh,
Exactly.
um, so I think there's a lot of benefit. Corporate environments worldwide can benefit from an understanding, how with simple things you can really construct a happy place and a happy, society. So that's probably the emphasis I'm going to try to give at my PhD dissertation.
And what do you think are the main challenges companies face when integrating the study of happiness into their organizational culture? And what strategies do you use to help them overcome those obstacles?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to raise awareness. Helping people and helping employees and especially leaders understand that happiness is really not a soft topic. It's really a strategic one. Uh, the other thing, and that was part of HSA and part of the MA, we can actually bring practical tools that they can use daily. And the third thing is that you have to measure impact. You have to have concrete results in productivity, in engagement, and in overall culture. I mean, businesses are here to, give services, but they're also here to have enough resources to keep growing. And those resources mean bottom line, usually money. And what we have to tell them is actually bottom line should be people. And with having happy people, you can really make more money and you can keep growing and giving better service to the society.
Yes, that is true. You know, before when we were talking, you were telling about schedules and people coming a certain time that to the office. Like for example, here in Scandinavia, everybody knows what they should do. Like for example, if you arrive 7 o'clock in the morning, you know that without asking anybody, without if your boss is there or not, you leave at 3 o'clock. You know, you're free. You're free to do uh, uh, because you're responsible. Here, you learn that it's your responsibility, and like, for example, everybody goes at 8 o'clock, and then by 4 o'clock, they are going home. And everybody does the same. And if you come early, you know that you go early home and nobody says anything and you're happy because you manage, you know, your time, you manage, and you feel like you're responsible and they allowed you to be that, to do those things.
Mhm.
And also I remember the company where my husband used to work, they had like a well-being program, and it was not just for the employee, it was also for the family, you know,
Mhm.
the wife, if we can say like that. And it was amazing. It was, you got information about food, exercise, um, stress management, and things like that. And it was, it makes a difference.
It makes a difference. I mean, here in Latin America, I mean, the advantage that we have is that we have a lot of relationships. I mean, I
Yeah.
have, I mean, hundreds and thousands of friends.
Oh, that's
I
amazing.
had
Yeah.
a dinner last night with friends. I have two lunches today with 50 friends. I have another lunch Thursday with another 50 friends. I mean, and so it's not just coming out of work and seeing how can, spend my time and maybe, watching TV or series or going
Yeah.
into the internet. But it's actually when we come out of work here, we really enjoy being around other people. And that's something in Latin America, probably is something that we have, because that's part of our culture. Now, when you bring it into the company, biggest challenge is usually changing, the mindset. As I said, it's a business imperative to talk about this. So it's
Mhm.
not only nice to have. But the second challenge is, and that's the reason to bring, new methods, is sustainability.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, launching an initiative, yeah, great. Oh, wow. But to actually, be part of the culture, that really takes time.
Mhm.
So you really need somebody inside the company to make sure that this is not something that is a nice program to have because everybody's having it. But in order to really make the changes that you want, you have to, keep working at it on a daily basis. And you have to make sure, especially, the leaders are the ones that walk the talk. So if there's no leadership alignment, uh,
Mhm.
really the things don't work. And for to be leadership alignment, you have to give them hard data. What they like is hard data on how
Yeah.
well-being actually drives performance. So what we have to do is really go into a company, have a tailored plan based on their necessities and their culture and the way, they're doing things at that time, and integrating, happiness into their processes. But it's not, it should not be an extra program, something that we're doing on the side. It should
Mhm.
be really how the company operates on a daily basis. And that takes time and that's hard work. And that's something that, you need the knowledge and the experience in order to really implement it into a company.
And what tangible changes do you think this will have in the employee productivity, well-being, and engagement after implementing, you know, the happiness program in companies?
I mean, well, one is employee engagement for sure.
Mm.
And I've lived, that employee engagement is very low worldwide. Most people are not really that happy at work, and
Mhm.
some people, almost like 18%, are miserable.
Yeah.
So we actually, when we came and started doing the programs, um, the satisfaction was around 42, 46%. And we drove it all the way up to 95%, 98%. Um, Higher retention rates. We used to have in the company 22% of the sales force used to go change every month, 22% monthly. We dropped it down to lower than 2% yearly. Um, Absenteeism. We never checked if they would come to work or not, but no, I mean, everybody was at work. And everybody was not only at work, but when we had to celebrate something, everybody was at all the celebrations also. So it not only brings hard data to increase, I mean, the way we increase productivity, we measure that, and it almost double productivity in the work. But also I mean, the atmosphere of the teams, the way they communicate more openly, the way the leaders show more empathy, the ways that the employees come to work every day, feeling more connected to the company's values and to the company's purpose, and making it part of it. So it's, I mean, you start building small things, but at the end, it's like the whole organization breathes a different type of culture, and you feel it. You feel it when you walk in the company. You feel it when
Yeah.
you talk to to the people. You feel it when they come to work because they love to come to work, not because you pay them. So yeah, you can really get those type of results. I have lived them, and it's a wonderful experience.
Stress and emotional disconnection are significant challenges in the corporate world. How does this program addresses this issue? Like, and what results you expect to see in companies that have implemented?
Again, I left a company where you had to do your work. You had to do what you were expected. And you were given a sheet at the beginning of the year saying, okay, these are all your individual goals at the personal level. But again, that was it. At the end, you could come up whatever time you wanted during the day, during the week, and do it. Uh, so you can actually, I mean, there should be, hard work. They should know what you're expecting from them, but it's not a matter of having to pressure them every minute, on just on being there because you have to. So what you measure is important, but there's also I mean, there's two things. There's prevention to make sure that you're fostering healthier work habits. You have better time management, so you really manage your time in a better way, knowing exactly what is expected from you. And definitely, you have to create psychological safety. I mean, you have to create an environment when they let you do what you're supposed to do, and they let you be innovative, and they let you be creative, and you don't, punish if they make a mistake, as long as they're trying to pursue, what the goals you have let them know. So that's important as prevention. And then recovery. I mean, we did mindfulness sessions. We had gratitude practices every day. I mean, everywhere. Um, they had like little cards that you could write whenever somebody did something outside of they were supposed to do. And we got thousands. I mean, I think 86,000 cards every year. I have more than 500 I still have with me. I mean, nobody used to throw the little cards because it was a culture of really having gratitude to the people that work next to you. And that really improved the relational dynamics of the company also. We tried to generate, different teams. That you had a soccer team, a basketball team, a volleyball team. We had a band, we had a rock band, we had a Peruvian band, we had a chorus. And yeah, we used to pay for the teachers to do that, to have those teams. But at the end, everybody knew each other on the personal level. So it was not just, he's my boss or he's the person that works next to me. It's everybody started knowing each other on a personal level because they interacted in different places besides work. So there's a lot of things that you can do to reduce stress and create a culture that really and they enjoy coming every day and they enjoy doing their work, and they enjoy because they also the other thing is important is to the personal growth. I mean, we used to spend 286 hours a year, making sure they had the right training, but the training on the professional level and the training on the personal level.
Personal level.
So it's a matter of you have to keep growing on a daily basis. We also had a gym inside the company. We also had, I mean, we had a lot of crazy things that we did at that time, so that people can really know how, no, not only, I mean, the problem with stress is not only the stress, the problem with stress is the recovery. So
Yeah.
you had to have, I mean, we had a place where you can go any day on during the day and just read and just,
Yeah.
enjoy your peace. We had rooms for two people that they can just talk. We had rooms, I mean, we had lounges everywhere. So it's a matter of you have to make sure you have the recovery so you can press yourself for a while, but then you have to have the minutes of recovery afterwards to make sure that, that stress really doesn't kill you.
Yeah. Well, and finally, I was going to ask you for, for companies. Finally, my last question. I know you have a lot to do, Mariano. And for companies just starting to explore how to incorporate happiness in their corporate culture, what advice would you give them to take the first step effectively and sustainably?
I would say start small, but also start genuine
Mhm.
and start from the top. I mean, leadership is crucial.
Yeah.
We only believe in a happiness culture if you see that it's modeled by the leaders. So you have to start there, uh, and you have to make sure it's easily to implement and it has a visible impact on the organization. And you can do a lot of little things, those gratitude moments in meetings. We used to have, like before starting a long meeting, just pass a little stick and maybe we would say for 30 seconds how they feel. And you would discover that maybe they really had, an emotional, stressful impact thing in their house before coming. And that's the reason that he was behaving the way he was behaving. So the thing is, you have to make sure that the people come first. You have to measure progress, but you also have to celebrate, the wins. And remember, happiness is not a one-time campaign. It's a really long-term investment in people and performance. At the end of the day, organizations are made of people. And again, when people thrive, companies thrive, and
Mhm.
happiness is really not a luxury. It's fuel for creativity, it's fuel for resilience, it's fuel for meaningful success. Um, and again, my vision is simple, is to see, more companies in Peru, in Latin America, and around the world recognizing that well-being is not just good for business, it's good really for humanity as a whole. And if we can create workplaces where people, leave at the end of the day feeling better than when they arrive in the morning, there we're not only just building, better companies, but we're building a better world, and that's part of the happiness revolution that, Tal has taught me, and I'm trying to follow in my country and my own way.
Perfect. Thank you, Mariano, for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. And we look forward to seeing how your work continues to shape the future of happiness in organizations. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, organizations, people,
People,
and nations as a whole. Thank you, Laura.
perfect.
It was a pleasure talking to you this morning.
Thank you very much.